Defiance is not comfortable, but defiance is necessary. For it is through defiance that integrity is reclaimed, and through integrity that nations are rebuilt, such as ours. Let me begin with those who embody the spirit of defiance: whistleblowers. Their stories are often tragic, but inspiring nonetheless. They speak not from positions of privilege, but from the conviction that truth matters. We have seen their courage in exposing corruption within state-owned enterprises, municipalities, and private corporations complicit in state capture itself. Yet too often, their reward has been intimidation, dismissal, financial ruin, or even worse. And if South Africa is serious about combating corruption, which I believe we must be, we must do more to applaud their bravery after the fact. We must create an environment where telling the truth is safe, encouraged, and protected. This means three things. First, reforming whistleblower laws to meet global standards. Secondly, creating independent bodies to investigate disclosures. Lastly, but not least important, providing real support, both financial and psychosocial, to whistleblowers. Protecting whistleblowers is protecting our democracy. It's time to harmonize our laws with international standards and ensure that truth tellers are safe, supported, and heard.
Well, other speakers say our laws are robust, but there is a lack of enforcement.
My bigger bugbear is not so much the laws, it's more the lack of enforcement and the lack of capacity when it comes to DPCI, commercial police. There are a lot of brilliant investigators out there, and we work with some of the best of breed in many of our cases, but they are few and far between. And the bulk of our investigation teams and prosecutors just lack the expertise to understand complex white-collar crime. So I think more focus needs to be put on enforcement and enhancing capacity and capability. And clearly we'll talk a bit more about technology, but we've got to build the capacity of our law enforcement bodies.
Well, the Cybercrimes Act is also there to assist, they say, but there are gaps in tracking digital evidence.
Concern around the misuse and just the lack of transparency around why you're requiring my data as well. So those would be the three key pieces of legislation that I would sort of want to put forward. But around the efficiency of these particular acts is just essentially the capacitation of your prosecutors, capacitation of your investigators as well, around the use and admissibility of this evidence as well, right? So in as much as cases are just beginning to use this law, but the impact of this law and the use of this law is just around to use this digital evidence that is going to then require more training, more skills, and more resources. Like Stephen said, there is that relationship with the US and countries in the European Union as well, just to train them as well. But I think the gaps are in terms of enforcement capacity, outdated systems, and digital evidence, like I mentioned as well. So digital evidence would be anything that gives value to proving corruption, right? Stephen mentioned that it is hard to sort of prove, right? But if we have the digital evidence and so the chain of custody, and Cameron also mentioned the sanctity of that evidence, right? If we're training them to be also cognizant of, once I've gathered this evidence and once I've stored this evidence, it also just needs to be admissible as well. And the reason why I would say that digital evidence is sort of a challenge, right? It enables you to then track suspicious payments through the data and digital financial records as well. Tender manipulation is also a big thing, right? Keeping track of audits. So your electronic systems also then provide timestamps, right? And those are then very integral in proving the corruption that happens as well. But we also need skills around data analysis, which is very integral again, right? But also tracing deleted files, tampered records as well, because when people are sort of seeing that they're being suspicious of or being suspected, they're quick to delete, right? But we need to make mechanisms to actually find and retrieve that data as well.
While others say the Act limits the kind of people who will be protected as whistleblowers.
The Act is intended to provide protection to whistleblowers, which it does to some extent. However, the first point is that it uses a very specific terminology for what wrongdoing is. That specificity in itself limits the range of individuals which will then qualify for protection under its Act. The second point is that it does not account for protection to those mistaken as whistleblowers or family of whistleblowers. Currently, the amendment has added worker, but previously it was just employee, so now it accounts for employee and worker. Why do I say specifically those mistaken or family? Because Babita De Current's family essentially is now enacting the role of whistleblower. Worker, we had last year a mistaken case of whistleblower identity, which was Armand Swart, the Transnet whistleblower. It wasn't him that blew the whistle. It was his organization, and he was assassinated for it. The third point is that there is no explicit guarantee of some sort of compensation for the whistleblower. Now, there's a lot of debate about it, whether it should be rewards or compensation. I understand rewards as the solicitation of disclosure, so offering some sort of percentage. My personal opinion is, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for it, is that it's opening up a whole can of worms. So it might open up more fake disclosures, etc., further inundate the system. But it's a possibility. Stephen Cohen wrote an article in 2020 which said that the US False Claims Act has provided more compensation to whistleblowers than what all of the other world's acts have.
Criselda Lewis, SABC News in Johannesburg.